Welcome aboard Tristan and Tommy's Runaway Railway. For your safety, please remain seated and enjoy the show. Welcome to Please Remain Seated, a theme park podcast hosted by two theme park enthusiasts that work for the industry in Central Florida. In our show, we discuss theme park news, theme park ride and reviews, as well as our Passholder Karens of the week. In today's news, we have Disney World Lightning Lane changes. We also got Universal COVID policy updates, as well as new roller coaster news opening, around the country and the world a little bit. And for my review, I'm also going to discuss my experience at IAAPA, which is the International Association of Amusement Parks and Attractions. I'll get into that a little bit later, but I'm Tommy, and our other host is Tristan.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Yeah, this will be our holiday episode. Our last recording was early November, and we had a busy month and a half, so got a lot of news to catch up on. There's been a lot of news in the theme park industry in the last month, especially with IAAPA in November. But we're going to keep the first two news updates in Central Florida. First one's Lightning Lane changes. Tristan, you want to talk about the Lightning Lane changes?
Yes, Lightning Lane has changed.
Good talk.
No, but they've switched up a lot of the attractions that are offered in the Lightning Lane. Many of which that used to be an extra charge are now included in the Lightning Lane. The $15 a day, I think, right?
Yeah. For those who aren't sure how Disney's new system works, you pay $15 per person a day to basically have the old fast pass system where you book a fast pass, or Lightning Lane now. You book a Lightning Lane for a certain ride at a certain time. You can only do a ride once through the Lightning Lane. And then on top of the $15 a day, each park had two rides that you had to pay extra for, and the price would be $7 to $15 extra just for one particular ride. Each park had two extra ones. So most rides were covered under Genie Plus, and then the rides that you have to pay extra for were covered under individual attraction selections because they couldn't think of an easier phrase to come up with. And I guess during the holiday season, I think each park now only has one individual attraction selection, and the other ones have gone under Genie Plus. So, for example, at the Magic Kingdom, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and Space Mountain were the individual attractions you had to pay extra for, but now Space Mountain is under Genie Plus. And at Epcot, I believe Frozen and Ratatouille were the two extra ones, but now Frozen's under Genie Plus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And at Animal Kingdom, Expedition Everest is now under Genie Plus, and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway also Genie Plus now.
That's right. So rest in peace. Great movie ride. But
yeah, R.I.P.
Anywho, yeah. Lightning Lane. Who knows? Yeah. I am glad to see that there's less things you have to pay extra for.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Do they really need to charge extra for all these rides now?
Yeah, no, especially because I feel like the selections for some of them were kind of random. Like at Magic Kingdom, I can totally see Seven Dwarfs being the other one, but for the second, that could have gone anyway between Splash Mountain, Space Mountain, Thunder Mountain, Peter Pan. That could have gone either way. And then Epcot, you had Frozen, which was pretty, Frozen and Ratatouille, those are like probably the newest rides there, especially Ratatouille. But I feel like, Test Track or Soarin' even could have been the other one.
Yeah, they really could have.
And like at Hollywood Studios, it was Rise of the Resistance and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Like they easily could have done it for Smuggler's Run or Slinky Dog or Tower Terror Coaster.
I know.
So it's like they just chose, like, because some of them seem obvious. So Hollywood Studios, obviously Rise of the Resistance, you have to pay extra for. That's a no-brainer. Animal Kingdom, Flight of Passage, no-brainer. But then, like, since each park was having two, I feel like the second one was kind of, random to me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think it's really that bad. It's getting a bunch of stuff. Allison actually had people down, and we went into the parks, and I used Lightning Lane for the first time, and it was fine. We were able to make a decent amount of selections, and we paid extra for a couple things, and it's worth your time. You're saving a lot of time.
For sure. Yeah, it's definitely like I think the only reason why people are complaining about it is just because prices in general in Disney have been going up, and since Fast Pass used to be a free system and now it's an extra charge, people complain about it. But my thought process has been that every other theme park has a much more expensive system. Like when I went to Cedar Point, it was $100 for Fastlane or 150 for Fastlane Plus, like each
Jeez.
day. Now, granted, with those systems, like it wasn't like reserving times. You literally just go into the lane with your fast lane, and you can do it as many times or whatever. Um, but it was a lot more expensive, and I don't know how limited it was. I think another issue that other people have had with Lightning Lane is certain parks. I think like Hollywood Studios and Epcot, they have like run out of selections for stuff pretty quickly. Where at the Magic Kingdom Genie Plus, I've heard has been like 100% worth it all the time. You're getting onto everything at the Kingdom. But other parks, you might not get stuff. Like, I remember its first day, I saw a video of a guy who went to Hollywood Studios. Slinky Dog was booked till 8 p.m., like within the first hour or two. And I think if you're staying at an on-site resort, you can start booking at 7 a.m. But if you're not staying at a resort, you have to start booking either at park open or 9 a.m.
Yep.
So,
Um,
um,
yeah, it's, I mean, so going back to, you said Cedar Point, right?
mhm.
Um, the difference between Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios is Magic Kingdom has like 40 rides. Hollywood
Exactly.
Studios
Magic
has
Kingdom
like
has a
8.
lot more rides. The other parks don't have nearly as many rides.
So Cedar Point having a lot of roller coasters, right?
Yeah,
Kind of, I
it,
mean, you said
it
a
does make it
hundred
worth it.
dollars, $150. That
Because
might be
yeah,
worth it.
it's $100 for most of the roller coasters. Fastlane Plus over there covers their big four, which are Millennium Force, Top Thrill Dragster, Maverick, and Steel Vengeance. Which honestly, it's worth it alone for Steel Vengeance because that line gets way too long.
So,
Um,
yeah, you add
and
$50.
honestly, even with Fastlane Plus over there, you'd still wait 30, 40 minutes with it for Steel Vengeance.
Oh wow.
That's just because the way the line is set up and like the dispatching for RMC coasters are usually slow, but they're worth it because they're fun. But
Mhm.
like they have the reputation they have for a reason.
Yeah.
Um, Unfortunately, Top Thrill Dragster was down both days I was there, and then Millennium Force was down one of the days. But just for Steel Vengeance and Maverick, that was good to get on. And then every other big roller coaster was able to just go into the fast lane and skip a lot of lines. Especially because I went at a relatively crowded time. Like it was around my birthday. If I had waited like a week or two, it would not have been as busy, but I didn't have the time. Anyway, point is, Disney has a cheaper fast pass, Lightning Lane, fast lane, whatever system now than other parks, but it's not what people are. Anyway, what was the news? I'm sorry, I've been rambling.
Huh? What? Are we
Yeah,
recording? Oh,
exactly. Um, so the Lightning Lane update.
Lightning
Yeah,
Lane.
that's what we were talking about.
That is what we were talking about. But I think Universal has some updates.
Yes, Universal has their first COVID update since May, I think. And it is with the recent surge of COVID and Omicron cases, they are now requiring masks to be worn indoors again at the universe. And this is really big news because no other theme park has had COVID rules other than Disney. Disney waited till June to initially drop masks, then brought them back right away the next month with Delta, and they have not dropped the indoor mask rule since. You have to wear masks at all indoor locations at Disney World. No other theme park has changed the rules until recently. Universal has. Um, and all I gotta say is I am feeling hard for the Universal team members because enforcing masks is not an easy thing to do. Disney has, been a little bit more used to things. It's always been a little bit more stricter there. And, while, guests will cause problems for it, I feel like Universal guests are a lot worse. Because I remember going to the parks in 2020, June to September 2020, Universal guests were pretty good. October 2020, nobody was distancing. People were very loose about masks there. Just the clientele there is just a little bit. I hate, I'm being a little bit rude, but it's true. Like the guests there are a little bit dumber when it comes to those rules. Disney was very strict and throughout 2020 and into 2021. So I'm feeling for Universal team members right now. If you're going to Universal, please be nice to them. Wear your mask indoors. Just follow the rules. Don't give them a hard time.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. It's crazy. We're kind of going backwards. We've been going backwards with this
Yeah.
COVID thing for a while.
Yeah.
So,
And like my
um,
roommate who's from New York and very passionate about all things New York, apparently like Broadway shutting down. There's been sports league delays and stuff with like the NHL, and it's kind of crazy. Like it's almost like March 2020 feeling again. Granted, we're in Florida, so I'll be very shocked if things shut down here because they were barely shut down to begin with, other than like the parks. But the parks have all been slowly coming back. I don't. I'd be shocked to see the parks close again because I mean we went through Delta, so
yeah, they're not gonna. I mean, you look at the graph of COVID cases.
mhm.
The parks have been open for the worst of it.
Yeah,
So, like you take the however many months that the parks were closed in 2020, and you look at the COVID cases, it's nothing compared to
yeah,
this past year. Like it's just so
absolutely not.
no one's gonna close. It's just
Yeah,
it
and
is what it is.
particularly in Florida, I was looking at the COVID graph, and this summer, COVID was the highest it had ever been this summer in Florida. And as of right now, because I was looking at the United States and Florida's graph, um, and Delta and Omicron are like two of our peaks. Like I think Omicron in the States is like almost right there with Delta, but in Florida, Omicron is like not very high at all. Uh, and I want to say because everybody got Delta, but like you can still get COVID more than once. Like I was just talking about my roommate from New York. He has friends and family that have gotten COVID more than once already. Like it's not just a one and done thing. Like you can get it again. And even people who got boosted. So that kind of worries me a little bit because I got vaccinated right away. I got my booster almost as soon as I could. So I've been boosted for over a month, but we'll see what happens. I've been very lucky so far. I know you got it before getting vaccinated, but you know,
Yep, yep.
so let's see what happens. If you're going to theme parks, Universal, Disney, wherever, be nice to the team members, cast members.
Yeah,
Um,
they're just enforcing rules. They don't make the rules. They might
exactly.
not even care about the rules, but just
Yeah,
respect them.
the people you interact with at theme park, they do not make the rules that you're annoyed at them enforcing. Just
Yeah,
be nice, do what they say.
yeah.
Like if you're wondering why, you can ask them nicely, but don't be a jerk.
Let's not
Um,
shame the Karens yet, Tommy, because that comes in
oh yeah,
later.
we're gonna shame the Karens later. We got a few things to get to before that. We got some many roller coasters opening next year. The one I'm gonna get into the one that I'm most excited about, Air Force One, is gonna be opening at Fun Spot Atlanta. So a Fun Spot in Atlanta is getting one of the best roller coasters that's opening next year. It's going to be an RMC iBox track. So they normally use these on their hybrid coasters, but I think they're making a ground up. It's going to be completely steel, I think, even though it looks like it's their hybrid. And the layout for it looks really awesome. I think the initial drop is over 150 feet, and then it goes into a little airtime hill, and then a first of its kind inversion. They're calling it a Raven Trust dive, but it's like a dive loop that like kind of turns out, then cuts into the dive loop and then goes into what they're calling the biggest zero G stall on any roller coaster, which I am a big fan of zero G stall elements. And just the layout of this roller coaster looks awesome. If you've ever been on an RMC hybrid, you'll know how great they are. Tristan, I know you went on Goliath at Six Flags Great America.
That's right. I did.
Yeah, so you know what they're all about. They're great coasters. So
Yeah.
Fun Spot Atlanta next year is going to be the spot to go to. It's just so it's crazy to me that a Fun Spot is getting one of the best roller coasters.
Yes.
Like this coaster does not belong at a Fun Spot.
We have two fun spots here in Florida,
Yeah,
and they
they're
look bad.
yeah no they're yeah you
So
don't pay to go into these theme parks. You pay to ride like they're not the best theme parks.
and then
Um,
and then you plop one down in Atlanta,
yeah,
but they're getting a
and
good
they're
coaster.
getting their biggest investment ever, and it looks pretty awesome.
Yeah.
They revealed the trains for Air Force One at IAAPA, and while I was there, I actually got to talk to one of the guys from RMC. kind of going all over the place. I should get to that a little bit later. Another roller coaster that's opening next year, Palindrome at Codaland in Austin, Texas. This is a very small park, only known for kiddie rides. So Palindrome for their park is actually a pretty big coaster. Um, it only has about it has probably 1,500 feet in length, but it's going to be a shuttle coaster. But it starts off with a vertical chain lift into a vertical drop, has two inversions, then up like a weird vertical hill before it goes backwards to do the ride again. But since it had a lift hill and a drop, it'll like eventually stop and rotate to go back into the station because it can't go all the way up that drop. Kind of think like a boomerang type of coaster, but
Uh-huh.
has a different like it looks like a nice looking Gerstlauer Infinity coaster for that little park. Um, they're making some cool uh, rides for different parks next year. They got that one opening in that park in Colorado. It's going to be at the highest point of any coaster in the world, so that's cool. They're doing some cool stuff next year. Gerstlauer. Um, Busch Gardens Williamsburg also. Pantheon has been in the books for a while. It's opening next year, and they released a POV for it. It's going to be the world's fastest multi-launch coaster, manufactured by Intamin. So they did Velocicoaster and Hagrid's down here
Mm.
in Florida. Both really great rides. Pantheon looks really cool as well. Like some of the elements on it definitely look a little bit different. I don't know if I'll like it more than Velocicoaster, just because of Velocicoaster's theming and other elements, but considering the speed and the launches, it is going to be a fun ride for sure. Absolutely. Um, and then my one last other coaster news that I have is Intamin's very first single rail launch coaster is opening at Luna Park in Australia, Big Dipper. They released a POV the other day, and it looks really cool. So RMC, I think, kind of put single rail coasters on the map with Wonder Woman a few years ago. And I think other manufacturers are starting to get into the single rail game. Like others have like produced models, but this is going to be the first one outside of RMC, I think, to open up. Um, and it's by Intamin, who make great stuff. I wish we were getting one of these in the States. I will watch the POV the other day. It looks really fun. Uh, Tristan, do you know anything about any of these coasters I'm talking about?
I
Or any coasters
yawned.
that are open?
I yawned 5 times
You
while,
yawned 5 times.
while you were
Fantastic.
talking
Yep.
about that.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm
Basically, a
here.
lot of awesome rides are opening next year. Next year should be very big as long as Omicron and whatever the next variant is doesn't screw things up too much. Um,
Yes.
because I've been waiting too long for Iron Gwazi over here at Busch Gardens, Tampa. Speaking of other RMC ones, it's like you thought Iron Gwazi was going to be the big, which is going to be the tallest and steepest hybrids in the country. But then you got Air Force One that might even be overshadowing because the layout looks sick. Anyways, let's go into some reviewing stuff. Is that what I'm going to do?
Uh-huh. Yep.
We're going to review some stuff. I am going to get into IAAPA, but before I do that, we have talked about the new Disney's new nighttime shows here a lot. Between Harmonious and Enchantment, and I finally saw Enchantment myself in person, so I feel like I got to talk about that now. And I feel really bad, but I hated it. I absolutely hated that show. I really wanted to like it. I really wanted to give it a chance. I really thought everybody was over exaggerating it, but my God, absolutely no emotion in that show. The fireworks were weak. The songs had no energy. Like, the fireworks weren't even really on cue. They were just kind of shooting off randomly with the Disney music. And I was on Main Street, and one of the big things for this show is the Main Street projections. I didn't even realize when they turned on. I just looked up at one point. I was like, "Oh, they're on," and just, uh, yeah, I really hate doing this, but bring back Happily Ever After. Like that show made me feel so much. Like I saw a TikTok the other day. Somebody recreated Happily Ever After with projections and Christmas lights on their house, and that alone was better than Enchantment. Like, oh my God, I'm sorry. Didn't
No,
want to be too negative about that.
I get it.
Yeah,
I wasn't necessarily overly impressed by it either.
yeah.
I
Because like
would
I
when
liked the live stream when I saw it. I was like, oh, this might be really nice in person. And everyone was like completely crapping on it. And I was thinking, you guys are, it's not that bad. And people looked at me like I was crazy whenever I said that. But after seeing it in person, I'm like, oh, yeah, no, it's not, you know. if you've never seen a fireworks show, it might be pretty good.
Mm.
But like,
yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. You're right about the energy and the music. I didn't care about the music. I had the same thing as you with the projections. I didn't even know they were on. I thought they were cool once I noticed them, but yeah,
it's like
I don't
on the
know.
other hand, Harmonious, which I've seen a few times, like I liked that the first time I watched it in person, and the more I've watched it, it has super grown on me. And plus, the soundtrack to it's on Spotify and Apple Music. So if you have those, you can just listen to it, and like that music and just the show itself is super grown on me.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely love it.
yeah, I like
Um,
Harmonious. I like it.
and speaking of another show, I want to give a shout out to the Universal Christmas Parade. I think it's only going till January 2nd. Hopefully, it comes back next year, but this should be coming out before the end of the year. So if you're in Florida, go to Universal and check out the Christmas Parade because that show slapped. They also got the Merry Grinchmas show. Um, which, speaking of the Grinchmas show, so something that kind of bugs me with it is that you have to go to Islands of Adventure to see it because like the entrance queue kind of starts in Seuss Landing, but they take you on backstage paths to the theater, which is literally right next to Rip Ride Rocket
Yeah,
at the Universal Park. And when you exit, like if you want to get to Universal, you have to go all the way back through Islands of Adventure. Because I really wanted to go to Universal after that show, but they had no extra pathway. So it would be kind of nice if they had a pathway after the show to go to Universal or whatever after. I don't know. But anyways, let me get into my IAAPA experience. So for those who aren't familiar, the International Association of Amusement Parks and Attractions, it's a yearly convention that they host. It's every year in Florida. It's really mainly for workers of the industry to spend millions of dollars on attractions. There's a bunch of different vendors. The big part of IAAPA is the trade show. So there's a bunch of different vendors, a bunch of different coaster manufacturers just there presenting their new products for people working in the industry to buy. So you'll see a lot of different models of coasters, water park slides, and just other fun attractions or attraction enhancements that haven't been released to the public yet. And going to the trade show, you get to experience some of them. For example, there's this one roller coaster at the very beginning of the trade show that had, kind of spinning. The cars spinned on it. There's a few of those, but they also had a car you can sit in that was a hamster wheel. So think about how a hamster wheel spins. Imagine sitting in one of those and being on a roller coaster. I actually got to sample that, and it was really, really fun. Um, Surprisingly, not as disorienting as I thought it was, but it was definitely a different sensation than I've ever felt on any coaster before. Super cool. There was also different drop towers there. Like there was one, I wish I remember. I think Zamperla. There's a drop tower where there's 2x2. There's different seats around it, so you're sitting with another person, and you have a lever in it that you kind of pump up, and you control how high you go with it. So it's like you're kind of creating your own drop tower experience with it. That's really cool. There's also a lot of like kind of free food to test out around, which is really nice. So got a lot of free Dippin' Dots, and then all the major coaster manufacturers were there as well. And I actually got to have a little conversation with someone from RMC, which was really awesome. He told me all about their different tracks and everything. Talked a little about Airy Force One opening, and I got to ask him a few questions. Really laid back, really cool, nice talking to him. I remember I wanted to maybe talk to the B&M or Intamin people, but their booths were like fancy and like they were all wearing suits. So I'm like, I definitely have no business going there. I honestly had no business being at IAAPA because this is really supposed to be for more important people. And I think you can like still pay hundreds of dollars to be able to go, but I still think it's like kind of hard to do. But my girlfriend had a hookup for us, so thank you for hooking us up with that. If you ever have a chance to go to IAAPA, I highly recommend it. It is really, really cool. Definitely find YouTube videos about IAAPA and all the things that they show there. Uh, yeah, I wish I had a little bit more specific things to say. I remember one attraction that I did try. It was kind of like a 4D, 3D ride slash game. And it was themed after an abandoned carnival. So there's just scary clowns popping up out of nowhere that you're shooting. So it's like kind of like a target game, think like, Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger spin, but it's a 4D spooky ride. And then eventually we ended up on like one of the roller coasters in this abandoned carnival. So there was just a lot. It was a really, really cool ride. I think by Sally Dark Rides. It was Yeah, really great time. IAAPA, baby.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Tommy. I was able to rest my eyes there for a little bit.
You're welcome.
And my ears.
Yeah, and I'll rest my ears for these Karens.
Well, it's like there's only two short ones, Tommy, so it's not
I want to
gonna
make fun of some Karens.
make fun of some Karens, and they
I like
deserve.
shaming people, you know?
Yeah, we do. They deserve it.
They do.
We got two of these suckers here today. Just little short ones. First one's from Disney. Second one's from Universal.
Classic.
Some diversity here. First one here is
those Disney Passholder pages recently have been
they've
been real bad.
Wow, I just do not know what's going through their head sometimes, but you know what?
I remember one day somebody like made a post, what are we going to complain about today?
Oh, they're just looking for negativity. They're just looking for what's
really
wrong.
Are. The magic is ruined.
So here it is. Here's one from Disney. You are killing this place with all of your rules. I felt like a 5-year-old on your property. Everywhere you go, someone is yelling at you to do something. Chill out. It is getting bad. Thinking about selling my points.
Cool.
This person's, that must be DVC. And
it must be DVC
Disney Vacation Club.
Maybe they don't like wearing masks. I don't know.
Yeah. Too many rules.
Sure. Too many rules.
On the private property where you're required to follow all the rules. Like, what are you complaining about the rules for? Come on. You're an adult, I assume.
Follow rules.
Follow rules.
They don't make them. Be a little bit more specific next time. I don't know.
Yeah, they didn't.
I don't even know what rules he's complaining about. Maybe he doesn't like that you need to watch your step or keep your hands, arms, legs, feet, and fingers inside the vehicles.
Or to please remain seated.
Or that's the show.
That's our show.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. So no, we got another. Got to get to this Universal.
Universal, and I don't think we found a lot of Universal ones, but here's one.
Yeah, no, because Universal has been killing it recently. Although now that they're bringing masks back, people are going to start hating them again.
For sure.
But anyways, Universal Karen.
Do not waste your money on any of the Harry Potter food or one ride. If you are going for this, save your money. The food was rancid, and the ride was 1 minute long. I do not mind paying for decent quality.
Did they only go on Flight of Hippogriff?
They only said there's one ride. They said do not waste your money on any of the Harry Potter food or one ride.
Because they said the ride was only 1 minute long.
Yeah.
Now, Diagon Alley only has one ride, and it's definitely longer than 1 minute. Hogsmeade has 3 entire rides.
Yep.
And one of them is the best, arguably, I was going to say arguably the best roller coaster in Florida, but Velocicoaster opened.
Right.
But you could still make an argument for Hagrid's, honestly.
And still way longer than 1 minute.
Oh, God, that's so much longer than 1 minute. That's like one of the longest coasters in the world.
Yeah.
And then, you got the castle ride, which is awesome. I like that better than Gringotts, honestly.
That one makes me sick.
Yeah, Gringotts is popular, but for me, I don't really care that much for Harry Potter, and I think if I did, I'd like that ride, but I don't, and I feel like the screens are kind of garbage.
Yep.
My opinion.
I get it. Well, yeah, that's it. There's some Karens for you. They're out there. Complaining about everything and how Harry Potter only has one ride and the food is rancid and it's only
that's why you go for the butterbeer. And if you're going to Diagon Alley, the ice cream shop has an Earl Grey lavender ice cream that freaking slaps. Yeah, right?
Haven't had the cream yet. I get a butterbeer every time I'm there, frozen.
Oh, yeah.
Love it.
I know there's usually a long line for it, but honestly, it's worth it.
So worth it.
Love the butterbeer.
You got to go to the different stands, though, because one stand always has a much longer line than the other, and I don't know which is which. But
yeah, me neither.
Yeah. All right, cool. Hey, talk us out.
Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us on Please Remain Seated. Might have been a little bit all over the place this week, but that's okay. We're going to be a little bit more organized next time. So things I have coming up, I'm still going to review Six Flags Fiesta Texas at some point. And Tristan and I, we're going to talk about our top 10 coasters. Like Tristan's going to have a top 10. I'm going to have a top 10. We're going to talk about that, get deep into that.
I know nothing about coasters, and Tommy knows everything, so it's going to be an interesting list.
It's going to be, I love it. It's going to be great.
All right.
All right. Yeah. Follow us on the social medias. Rate us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Love us. If there's anything you want us to talk about, shoot us a message. Let us know. There's a theme park news you want us to opinion about.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Please remain seated.
Bye.
Bye.